All right, welcome back to another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. This is episode 131. Joining me for the third time in All American Hoops podcast history, we got Dehls from Pick a Side.
What's going on? I didn't know it was the third time. I guess it is. We've had some good times. We're thinking about the Mets. We've had some bad times thinking about the Mets. Unfortunately, this is one of the bad times talking about the Mets. We're not talking about the Mets today, but appreciate you having me on.
So you were on like when we very first started. I was looking back like because I was looking for your email to send you the link, and I just looked at Dehls. It was episode 13 that I had you on. I'm like, now it's episode.
Oh wow.
So like it was me, you, Riv, and John. So yeah, it was the four of us.
We had Riv. I forgot. Yeah.
That was a good one. And then a few months later, I had you back on for the when the Mets made it to the NLCS. That was absolutely. Yeah. And I know we're not talking. I know you said we're not talking about baseball today, and I'm not. But I just want to know what your thoughts are. Are you on Team Trade Lindor? Or are you against that? What are you?
Definitely. I'm so against it. No, number one, I love Lindor. I want him to retire a Met. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, going to the Hall wearing a Mets hat. But the bigger issue is just you're not going to get a package back that makes it worth trading Lindor. You know, like if you go into next year, where's Lindor ranked amongst all shortstops? Like top 3 at worst. He's still a really good defender. The injury this year is weird. I know the bat hasn't been there, but this whole season is kind of just a dumpster fire. You know, I don't think you could take anything seriously that Lindor, really anyone, like it's good to see the young guys are playing well, but I'm not looking at what Lindor does this season with the injury he had in spring training, the injury he sustained during the regular season, and just think that Lindor is done and washed. You're not trading him for something that's valuable, that they want to compete next year. They should compete next year. They have Juan Soto at $1 billion contract. So moving off Lindor would be dumb. I don't think Stearns is going to do it. I don't think there's a package out there worth even considering it. And there's people out there that say if you have to trade Lindor, you have to pay some of his money. Keep Lindor, keep Soto. I think the core is good. Like obviously Soto's not going anywhere. I like the young kids you have in the outfield and Ewing and Bench. They have pieces there. It's just they always seem a way to screw it up. It's the rotation this year has been super underwhelming, especially Peralta, Senga, Manaea starting to figure it out, but he was bad at the beginning of the year. It just always feels like there's something wrong with the Mets. One thing goes right, another thing goes wrong. They fix it the next season, something else goes wrong. I still have hope. I still have faith, but my like blind faith in David Stearns is definitely starting to wane. It's definitely like I'm a little skeptical of this guy.
It's been the same thing for me. Like the only thing that's like keeping me kind of on it, like on like his side, because like the thing is like everything that happened this year, like no one could have predicted. Like every single thing, like every single move that they made, has turned out to be so much worse than expected. Like no one could have expected Freddie Peralta to be this bad. Like maybe everyone expected him. Like he's like okay, he's good, but he's not going to eat many innings. We knew that part, but we didn't know that his ERA was going to be 5 in those innings. We didn't know how bad Marcus Semien would be. We didn't know how bad, even though he's been better lately. We didn't know how bad. We didn't know how injured Rivera would be. The worst signing actually was Polanco. No one knew how bad he'd be there. So just literally every single thing they did this offseason just turned out to be for the worst. Like could we have known that like maybe we were going to regret like getting rid of Pete and Nemo? Yes, we could have predicted that. We could not have predicted everything else going so bad. So like I think heading into next year, heading into the offseason, obviously we have no idea if 2027 is even going to happen. But like if it does happen, then like at least like a fresh mindset to see okay, so we could just chalk this off as a bad season. Let's see what we can go into with that. But like like it's not blind. I'm no longer like a blind Stern supporter, like not anymore because it's been so bad. But like I'm willing to give him one more season.
Yeah, it's a big deadline though because they are going to have definitely relievers. Like Luke Weaver is going to be someone people want. Minter, Rayleigh, like there's going to have at least in the bullpen they'll be able to get hopefully a couple top 100 guys potentially. Especially when it comes to Luke Weaver, if they move off him, he's probably going to be the best reliever on the market if Mason Miller doesn't get moved. To play devil's advocate, because I agree. I think it was worst case scenario with basically all of the moves they made this offseason, but some of it was baked in. Like Robert, you knew the injury history, right? You knew that it's a possibility. Semien, you saw last year that, I mean, you've seen it for a couple of years, but you saw it really last year too, especially the first half of last year. Just the bat is gone. He's been a bad, not a great defender this year as well. The Polanco stuff is nuts. I mean, the Polanco stuff, he just barely has played this year. I think he came back in the last like week or two. If I'm being honest, I've been barely watching Mets baseball because they've been 10 games under 500 since like May. Yeah. So it hasn't even been worth watching this team. It sucks, man. It sucks because
last year. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
I was going to say, I really thought that once we got David Stearns, and of course you make the NLCS run in 2024, you're turning the page. And this is going to be a team that's a consistent contender. You signed Juan Soto. You have this boy genius in David Stearns. You have all of these prospects that people are talking up. It felt like this team was going to be consistently competitive. And then 2025, you have the worst second half you've ever seen. And then 2026, you have a 12, 14 game losing streak in the middle of the season, and then your season was over. It's frustrating.
Yeah, last year we had Clem. We had Clem on the show, and then we had Chris Clemmer as well. Both Barstool Mets guys. So like, and like this year I came like and like we talked about the trade deadline. We were like, please, what was going on? Like we were upset with everything, but at least like we had like this like a little bit of optimism that they could turn it around, given like because even like last season's moves were horrible too. Like at the deadline, like Ryan Helsley just turned into the worst the worst reliever of all time overnight.
Cedric Mullins too.
Said like I think Helsley had like a -1 WAR, so like if they didn't trade for him, they would have made the playoffs or something like that. So how do you have a -1 WAR in 2 months as a reliever? Is my question.
He was so bad. He was so bad.
No, because like I was on vacation for like the first his first outing, and they were up against the Giants, and he just came out throwing gas. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. We got him and Diaz now both throwing over 100, and it'll be we only have to win the first 7 innings, then we're good, and then like no, none of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Life of a Mets fan, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. But anyway, before we start talking about the NBA, I'm gonna So since we turned episode 100, we couldn't do jersey numbers anymore. So now we're gonna now we wish happy birthday to players on the day of the podcast. So NBA, we actually have a very high, not so many legends, but a lot of like name familiarities. So happy birthday to the GOAT's perimeter defender Gary Payton, to two Celtic legends Gerald Wallace and Javonte Green, to DeAndre Ayton, and to Brandon Roy. So
okay, got some good ones.
Yeah, definitely. And and then in baseball, we had 2 Hall of Famers. I didn't write one of them down because I didn't know them. The other one is Pee Wee Reese from 1940 to 1958, and to Nomar Garcia Parr, which obviously
legend.
Absolutely. If any of our fellow Celtic fans are mostly also Red Sox fans,
yeah,
push into. But I'll be honest, I always look at the NFL, and usually I know at least one. I could not find a single NFL birth. Like obviously there's a big list.
Really?
I don't know. I didn't know a single one of them. Like me. But yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so so last week we had Jake Eisenberg from the First to the Floor podcast for the Celtics, and obviously the main thing we pretty much the top segment for each time we have a Celtics fan on is we have them react to what the offseason has been so far. So before I ask you, I'm not going to ask you. I think we're not going to go big picture for this one. I think we'll just dive deep right in. So I would say out of most Celtics fans that I've seen online, I would say that you were probably one of the more skeptical ones about the. Most Celtics fans were very skeptical about the Jaylen Brown trade, but I know that some Celtics fans like tried to hide it in, like to try to be a little optimistic, but yeah, you definitely didn't hide that. So I'm just wondering, how much have you come around to the Jaylen Brown trade, if at all?
I've come around to the logic behind it.
Yes.
I don't think emotionally I've came around to it, but I think like logically I've came around to it. One of the topics we had on the show was just offseason takes. And I think my number one take was everybody in the NBA world, me included, overreacted to the Jaylen Brown trade. Because, and we can still argue about the compensation they got. And maybe that's what more people are mad about, the compensation rather than the player actually getting traded. But from the like player actually getting traded perspective, I don't think it's that crazy. Like Jaylen Brown's been here for a decade, drafted here, 7 should be in the rafters one day, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, ECF MVP, all the accolades that he's had, led the team to the 2 seed. In the Joe Mazzulla era, 3 out of the 4 years have been a disaster. And you can't take away the championship that they had in 2024, and you shouldn't. And Jaylen Brown deserves a ton of credit along with the rest of the guys. But in 2023, you go down 3-0 to the Miami Heat. You make the comeback, but obviously Game 7 happens. Tatum rolls his ankle. In 2025, you blow 2 20-point leads to the New York Knicks, who you dominated in the regular season, and you were like minus 700 to advance in that series. And this past year in 2026, you blow a 3-1 series lead to Philly. Again, you were like minus 700 to advance in that series. You can't take away the championship. But Brad Stevens, knowing who he is, and I think it's how GM should act, it's a process over results league, right? Like winning the championship in 2024 you bring all the guys back in 2025. That was the right thing to do. But that doesn't just automatically make every player on the team, Joe Mazzulla included, untouchable for the next 5 years. Like I think you could look at past champions, potentially with the Milwaukee Bucks, with the Denver Nuggets. They tried to keep their core together for as long as they could. And we see they haven't been able to get back. In the Bucks case, they had to move off Giannis. In Denver's case, it feels like they're farther away from a championship than they've been the last 3 seasons, especially when you look at the Spurs and OKC kind of, separating themselves in the Western Conference. And when I look around the NBA, what number 2 is like undoubtedly safe? Like what number 2 in the NBA is like, he is untradeable. There's no way you're moving him. I was going through this process a couple days ago. I was like, Evan Mobley, I don't think he's untouchable, but like, I don't think they're looking to trade Evan Mobley. If he's even the 2 next to Donovan Mitchell, it's really hard to think of a number 2 in the NBA right now that a team wouldn't move. And
I guess Chet, but even him, the discourse around him, like after Game 7 was like people saying they have to trade him. I'm like, no, you don't have to trade him. He's one of the best.
And if Chet has another bad postseason or struggles against the Spurs again, he's undoubtedly, it's only going to get louder. Same thing with J-Dub. Another season where he's just banged up or not 100%. There are going to be talks about him getting moved. And I wouldn't be surprised if they lost in the WCF again, that he does get moved. So I don't think it's possible to have a number 2 that's untradeable. And then my last point is, we don't really have a blueprint for how you should work the CBA with the second apron, right? Boston was probably the first team that went deep into the second apron for multiple years in a row when they brought back the team in 2025. But we've seen every champion do everything they can to get out of the second apron, right? Last year was different with Boston because Tatum tears his Achilles, but we've seen the Knicks move off Mitchell Robinson. We've seen Denver move off of Michael Porter Jr. and Bruce Brown and some other guys. We've seen the Thunder make multiple trades this offseason. We've seen so many teams make moves to get out of the second apron because just of how restrictive it is. And Jaylen Brown making $70 million per year, it's going to be really difficult to field a competitive team, a deep roster, when you're paying him and, of course, Tatum that much money. So I also just think when we look back on this, and if we had 10 years worth of data and we could see, team X, Y, and Z did this and they were able to get back to a championship, it'd be easy to point to that, be like, oh, that's what Boston should do. But since the second apron thing's been only around for like 3 seasons, we don't really have a great idea of what teams should do when they go up against that second apron, especially champions, when they're trying to get back to that mountaintop. So my biggest takeaway was, I think a lot of people, me included, overreacting to Jaylen Brown trade. I love him. I wouldn't have traded him. I completely emotionally am attached to him. But Brad Stevens putting basketball first and not feelings first in the long run is probably the right move.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with all that. And yeah, like in the moment that I heard he got traded, I was actually at an overtime lunchbox. I don't know if you've seen their stuff. It's similar to Clash, like overtime lunchbox. I was actually at one of their recordings. So and like when the trade went down, and I couldn't, I knew there was like a 75% chance he was going to get traded. But then like when I saw the package, I'm like, because I literally I went through it in my head. I'm like, okay, so if a team is gonna make a trade, one of 3 things needs to happen. So either they're gonna improve their roster, they're gonna become more flexible financially, or they're gonna get a boatload of draft capital. So so in the moment, obviously, I'm thinking Jaylen Brown is a significantly, I'm actually gonna do the roster construction last, actually, but the cap flexibility, my thought process was, what the hell? Paul George is only making, what is it, $3 million less than JB this year. How does that make them more flexible? No, it does make them more flexible, because you can either move it first of all, they would have had to extend Jaylen, like, in order to like remove it of attention.
And then he's untradeable. 5 years, 100%, at $300 whatever million dollars, not movable.
Absolutely, yeah. So between that and also the fact that they can either move up Paul George next year, or they can, or it's after next year. Then it's all done. Then they have flexibility after that. So like that part's so like, again, in the moment I didn't think they had flexibility, but now they do. So with the draft picks. So again, I'm someone like, I'm like, 2 first-round picks. Are you serious? Like I really thought they were going to get at least 4. Like I thought they were going to get a star, or they were going to get 4 first-round picks, but they only got 2. Who knows how horrible that Clippers pick is going to be? How bad the Clippers are going to be in 2028? But again, we also don't know how with the new lottery, how the draft structures.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your audio just changed. Your audio is worse now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Should be. There we go. So, yes, we don't know how bad that's going to be. We also, in 2031 is also a long time away as well. Should we when we have prime Jason Tatum, it is tough to kind of look at 2031. But however, again, second year, like it might be best to look to the future. And again, like who knows like what the Sixers team is going to be. And then I'll bring up the roster construction. So we don't even have to. Like no one's going to pretend that Paul George is a better player than Jaylen Brown. No one's going to do that. But however, if we think about we think about Missoula ball, and like when we say Missoula ball, it's not even just Missoula ball. It's also just like the way that the NBA is currently constructed. It's about limiting turnovers. It's about becoming more efficient. It's about and it's also about just like not much isolation ball. So Paul George is a better catch and 3-point shooter than Jaylen Brown. Defense is like kind of close. He's a better rebounder. There's one more thing, but like as like an organizational standpoint, you would rather have Jaylen Brown, especially from the fact that Tatum is coming off the torn Achilles and he's probably not going to play a lot of back-to-back. So like that's where nights like those is where you'd rather have Jaylen Brown than Paul George. But like there are going to be certain there's in like some ways, like as far as it goes for like building a system, Paul George does fits the mold slightly better than Jaylen Brown does in some ways.
He does. No, he definitely does. I think, especially when you're talking about as an off-ball defender, it's not even close. I think Jaylen Brown is a just straight up bad off-ball defender. He gets caught ball watching. He gets caught on back screens. He gets caught a lot when it comes to off-ball. When you're talking about just like an on-ball one-on-one defender, Jaylen Brown is really good, but he does have moments too. Like, I don't know, we both watch a ton of Celtics basketball, right? When Jaylen Brown is going up against Luka or Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson, there is a different level of effort and energy than when he's going up against the Hornets and LaMelo, for example, right? Like there is a different level that Jaylen gets to that isn't consistent for 82 games. And I don't blame him for that because it is 82 games. And more often than not, Boston doesn't need Jaylen Brown to be the best defender, especially like one-on-one defender when he has such a high responsibility offensively. But I don't want to treat Jaylen Brown like he's a two-way demon, which he gets treated like a lot. He has shown that in moments like the 2024 finals, he deserved to have that stamp because he locked up Luka Doncic. And the fact that he has that capability, maybe it's fair to put that on him. But I'm not going to treat him like he's, like Kawhi Leonard level, where he is really that dude that is one of the best defenders on the planet, plus is giving you 25 a night offensively. Jaylen Brown just isn't at that level. And it hurts me to say this because a part of me feels like he's off the Celtics now. I feel like I'm bashing him. I feel like, you know what I mean? I'm
exactly. No, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Trades. But it's just the reality. Like, I've watched Jaylen Brown for 10 years. I know his flaws. He has flaws, right? And it's not rude or it's not incorrect to say that Paul George is potentially a better basketball fit if you want Jason Tatum just to run the show. There's stats that got floated out there when Tatum has a higher than 35% usage rate. The Celtics win 90% of their games. And I do think Celtics playing their best basketball when the offense is ran through Jason Tatum instead of Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is just a better like one-on-one pure scorer, get to your spot, especially in the mid-range. But when it comes to orchestrating an offense, being a playmaker, being a hub, it's not even close. Like Jason Tatum is probably the best wing playmaker in the NBA right now. Maybe LeBron, but outside of that, I don't think there's another dude that's doing that on Tatum's level when it comes to being a playmaker and as a facilitator. And we've seen him average 30. We know the 3-point shot, especially when he came back from the Achilles. His 3-point shot was like around 37% or so. Yeah. We know it could get downhill. And outside of Tatum getting hurt, like maybe there's a world, and knock on wood doesn't happen, maybe there's a world where going forward, Tatum is just more injury prone because of this Achilles injury. But I'm tired of treating Jason Tatum like he's not Jason Tatum. We saw him last year come back from the Achilles and be Jason Tatum. His last 10, 15 games with the Philly series included, he averaged like 25, 11, and 7, was efficient as hell. Like he came back just as good, if not better than what we saw him the season prior. So I'm not going into next year being like, ooh, hopefully Tatum's okay. Tatum's going to be great. Tatum's going to be a top 5, not borderline top 5 player.
Absolutely.
It's just like we saw in the Philly series, his calf got hurt. You have to be careful. Is he going to overcompensate? Like there's those things when it comes to the injury. But when it comes to on the court, if Jason Tatum is playing, we should treat him like he never had the Achilles injury because that's what he showed us last year.
100%. And like we certainly shouldn't be looking away from the blowing for the 3-1 lead. Like I saw a tweet the other day. Like it was like one of the segments that like you said, like looking off ball, Jaylen, like Jaylen, like just like completely like I don't know if it's Embiid or something. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah. He gets lost, just like
he just got like just like completely like backdoor, like someone like it was like it was like some type of like sequence where like the Sixers went on like a just like it was like a mini 5-0 run, but like it was like just like you could see like the attitude, like the just like the team was like just totally like drained. Like it was game 6. It was just like I remember like I remember like even like after game 5 actually is when I said like, okay, maybe this team isn't going to win the finals this year. But then like after game 6, I realized I'm like, gee, like this team just doesn't have it. Like this isn't just this isn't like just like a oh like it's the team's just a little clunky with Tatum coming back. Like no, like you said, it's been 3 times in 4 years that the team has grossly underachieves, and like maybe like a couple bounces go a certain ways. If Tatum doesn't get injured, maybe it goes better. But the fact of the matter is, this team has underachieves, and and it's always better to trade earlier than quicker, unless you think you can win the finals. But like clearly Brad didn't, and I think he's right there. So I don't know, but so we could talk about Jalen's fit on the Sixers later, but like and I think we can do that by my next question. Yeah, I guess we can segue on over to, and I could have sworn by now, like I was expecting, yes, we were supposed to do this on Tuesday. Like I was low key expecting LeBron to make his decision, so we were going to talk about that, but apparently not. So yeah, so what's our So what are your thoughts on LeBron? Do you think there's any water to the Miami Heat intern fucking up the lane tours there, or do you think that was just a mistake on their part?
I definitely think it was a mistake, because you have to imagine, like, if I'm working in social media for the Heat or the Cavs or whatever, you have to have shit prepared for when inevitably he signs, right? You can't be like scrambling the day of. So I think someone just screwed up on their ends. LeBron shit's pissing me off at this point, honestly, because listen, LeBron's a legend. He's the GOAT to me, but it's like, bro, it's July 23rd. You're down to like 4 teams. What are you really waiting for at this point? A lot of people said the World Cup has to be over because he wants the attention on him. I guess, whatever. I don't know. Like, at this point, I'm a bit irritated because he's the last real domino to drop, right? I think teams are not even really waiting around because, you know, most of the waves of free agency are over at this point, maybe a couple of trades potentially, but it feels like LeBron is just taking his time. All the attention's on him, which I get it. LeBron, this is probably your last hurrah. Definitely probably your last time hitting free agency. So do whatever you want to do. Right now, how Philly's constructed, just talk about the Jaylen Brown fit.
Yeah.
I don't think the championship contender. I think it's a bit of a weird fit. Him, Maxey, I think Maxey's a really good off-ball player, so I think that's fine. The fit is just weird to me, though, because you have Maxey and you have Edgecombe in the backcourt. You're kind of, we've seen Edgecombe be a bit up and down, just rookie season, a bit inconsistent. But now you're forcing Maxey to play primarily off ball, or at least his usage to go down just a bit. Jaylen Brown plays primarily in the mid range. Joel Embiid likes to play a lot in the mid range, and then like kind of that elbow. That's a lot of the area where Jaylen likes to play. Embiid isn't obviously healthy all of the time. I just think it's a bit of a weird fit. I think it's the move Philly had to make because you want to try one last time with Embiid to try to win something. And Jaylen Brown's easily the best player you can be able to get, especially for that price, and get off Paul George's contract. But from a basketball perspective, I don't find this as like a seamless fit, right? Jaylen Brown isn't somebody who is a high-level playmaker. They don't really have any of those on the team. He's not a good off-ball defender like we've talked about. I think the team and the fit is a little clunky. With that being said, if LeBron goes there, it fixes a lot of stuff, right? Just having a primary initiator and a primary ball handler be really important. But then again, how does him and Jaylen fit together? I mean, I don't want to call Jason Tatum LeBron by any means, but in the terms of like another wing who obviously needs the ball in his hand, is going to be better as an on-ball player than an off-ball player, and someone who's a better playmaker than Jaylen Brown, should have the ball more than Jaylen Brown. And then you have to find and fit and beat into all of this. And then Maxey has to get his touches. It's a really talented team, and it's a good problem to have that you have too many good players who need the ball. But I'm not looking at this like, oh, the Sixers just became the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think Boston is just as good as them. Like, from a talent perspective, sure, Philly's better on paper. When you have to roll the ball up, I know we just blew a 3-1 lead. I shouldn't be talking like this. I like her out just as much as anybody else. Like, I really don't look at Philly and their roster and the way it's constructed and think that they're this unbeatable force. I think they're a team that gets to the second round probably, but they go up against New York, they go up against Boston. That's a 6-7 game series, and I would take New York and Boston over them right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So Drummond signed with the Knicks. Is Bono their backup center now, or did they get someone else? I feel like I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I feel like they might have signed someone. I could check.
Yeah. So yeah. So obviously, yeah, Embiid's just weird, just because like he gets injured for the entire season, but it feels like most seasons he's healthy for the playoffs. Like obviously 2023 was kind of weird because like he did get the surgery, but he was healthy by the time, or not healthy, he was playing by the time he was there. But
Signed Huck
then
Porty from the Knicks. I think that's the only move they
okay,
made as a
okay,
big.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like a lot of this will depend on Embiid's health, which I don't think any of us can count on him playing more than 55 games this year. Even 50 might be pushing it, but yeah, I'm just curious. I'd just be curious to see what exactly the Sixers team would look like with a big three of Edgecombe, Maxey, and Brown, who um all guys who wouldn't necessarily complement the best playing with one another. So yeah, like I don't know how high the Sixers floor is. I should both their floor and their ceiling, because they absolutely could lose in the first round if Embiid gets injured. But then I could also see a world where they make the conference finals. But I don't know. It'd be tough. And yeah, with your thing on LeBron, like yes, like they do need that additional playmaker. So like that's something that they would need there. But it's like a thing where like I'm not saying, yeah, like LeBron's not a locker room cancer. I'm not saying that, but by any stretch of the means. But however, let's not act as if like LeBron teams like aren't attached to like some type of drama, which Jalen Brown, Joel Embiid, like those guys aren't necessarily immune to drama either. So
They'll speak their mind.
yeah, yeah, oh, 100%, yeah. So I just think that has potential just to be like a ticking time bomb in there. So I think the LeBron to the Sixers, like at first I thought, I know the Chom said a couple times it was down to Cleveland, Miami, and Philly. I think that Philly is very, very clearly in fourth place now. I'd probably put Golden State in third, and then
What about
it's in, it's,
Minnesota? I've seen Minnesota float around
I've
still
I've
too.
seen Minnesota too. I don't know how realistic that is.
I think that's the best fit for LeBron.
It is the best
I
fit for
think
LeBron.
Minnesota's the
Yeah,
best fit.
yeah. Yeah, definitely on offense, and yeah, and then even defense. Yeah, you got both Gobert and McDaniels are both like very good defensive anchors, and then even Ansys all defender. Obviously, LaMelo isn't really the best, but yeah, for the entire offseason, I've been saying, oh, it's going to be Cleveland. It doesn't make sense for anyone else. He's going to finish his career in Cleveland, but it's not because of the link. It's because of everything else picking up. It really seems like that Miami has really kind of either closed the gap or in some cases has kind of become the favorite. So I don't know. I don't know about you're on now.
Yeah, it's Miami's an interesting fit. I know we're not, we haven't discussed the Giannis move. That feels like a decade ago at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
The Giannis and Bam fit, I think, is a little weird. Like defensively, I think it's gonna be awesome. Like those are two of the best defenders in the NBA, even if Giannis has maybe fallen off just a bit with his age and some of his injuries. Offensively, I think the fit is weird. I think the fit is clunky.
Very, very.
We've seen, obviously we've seen like the point guard big version with Giannis and Dame. That didn't really work out. The version of Giannis and Bam, I still don't think works out, just because the shooting and the spacing is pretty awful. I was talking, when we do the Pick a Side podcast, Joel said that he thinks Giannis and Bam is a better duo than Tatum and Giannis in terms of fit, because he said, well, Bam's just going to let Giannis do whatever he wants. And I'm like, well, then that's not a duo. That's just Giannis doing whatever he wants and Bam is sitting there. But that's kind of how it feels like, where maybe it's like a my turn, your turn kind of thing. But
yeah,
we know both these guys, like they have this little mid-range game to them, but I don't think that's exactly their specialty. Like Giannis is going to be getting downhill. Bam, I think, is still going to be better around the basket than a jump shooter. I think the fit is a little weird. Adding LeBron to it, though, I think makes it a lot easier, because LeBron is a good shooter. He is a good playmaker. I think just the basketball IQ with him and Spo is going to be able to unlock some things offensively. And they just need more talent more than anything. Like, I know they brought Wiggins back. They have Davey on there, but that team is just lacking of talent. They signed was Tim Hardaway to the minimum, but it's a team and a roster that just needs more good players on their team, as opposed to the Cavs. LeBron slides in pretty perfectly at the three when you have Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, and Jared Allen. I think that roster fits. The Sixers one, like we talked about, it's a little clunky. The Heat, I think, is just a little clunky, just because you do have, like, I know like Giannis is a 4 and LeBron's a 3, whatever, but it still just feels like overall just the spacing could be a little odd. But to me, if he was deciding between all these teams we mentioned, I would be going to Minnesota. If you could have Ant and LaMelo, you could take away just a lot of the responsibility he has to do offensively. If he's willing to buy in and really be a role player, he could be the best role player the NBA has ever seen, because I still think LeBron, when the night is right, can be a top 10 player.
easy.
And defensively, he could be more engaged. He could be more locked in. Jaden McDaniels and Gobert, like you talked about, are two of the best defenders in the league. He fits in just perfectly there. but it seems like most of the reporting points him to an Eastern Conference team. Although you can make the argument the East is just the better conference right now. It's definitely the deeper conference when it comes to like the tippity top, the top two teams the West has. I don't know if the East has the second best team as the, OKC or the Spurs, however you want to shake it. But in terms of just depth, like there's 10 teams you could talk yourself into in the Eastern Conference that are like legit playoff teams. I don't think the West has that right now.
No, they don't. And and when you mentioned Golden State, like I said, like that one's that one's more of like a relationship one. He's friends with both Steph and Draymond. So
that was like a high school reunion. Like let's get together and hang out, but we're not doing anything,
Or as Bill Simmons called them, the Expendables. Like if they did like a sign and trade for like if they traded Butler for like Butler for KD, and then doing like a sign and trade with like getting off Clay's contract, bringing him back. So yes, it could be a very fun move for sure. But was there anything else you want to talk about over the offseason, or we could just dive into the next segment, which is just the Bleacher Report list? But I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, the only other thing I had. The only thing I had for the offseason was I think by far and away the biggest loser are the Pistons. I think they're the one team in really the entire NBA that I'm looking at saying, like, you guys screwed up bad. This is a team that was just the number one seed in the East. It was a rocky playoff, especially going down 3-1, going to 7 with Cleveland, the way Cade had played in Game 7. A lot of just skepticism, I think, going around Detroit. And I love Cade. I think he's a top 10 player, so I'm not saying it, but a lot of skepticism around Cade Cunningham and some of the games that he played in these playoffs. To do nothing, like nothing of note, and to lose Tobias Harris in the process, having re-signed Jalen Duren, although it does seem like it's going to happen, it's really questionable. And you look at the Eastern Conference, and you don't want to disrespect Detroit and what they did last year. They're going to play hard in the regular season. They're still a young team. They're still going to be a good defense. But it's like, you could talk yourself into them being a play-in team. Like I don't know if I would say that.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the Knicks, Boston, Philly, Indiana's going to be healthy. We'll see about Charlotte. Maybe Charlotte's going to be the next team. And the Toronto, Cleveland, like that's 6 teams right there that they could all be better than Detroit.
Well, Orlando could turn things around. I know it feels like we say this every year. Where like Orlando is the next team up, but like who knows? Maybe this is the year where they turn around, which they almost beat them last year. So who knows? But
it's just weird that Detroit had this insane season. They won 60 games, right? Like they won 60 games, number one seed in the East, and it feels like this is the offseason. Let's go and get aggressive and try to make a move for Giannis, a KD, whatever it might be. And not even do nothing but to lose to Tobias Harris, like your only other trustworthy offensive piece next to Cade. I think they're just biggest losers so far this year.
I agree. It's funny enough, though. I do think that the second biggest losers, if they don't get LeBron, is Cleveland, actually, because they're another team that made the conference finals. They did nothing, and then both you and I are big Donovan Mitchell guys, and like I'm still someone like if it feels like people are selling all their stock on him because of his playoff run, but I still think he's a top 10 player. But even I defend him more than anyone. That contract isn't justifiable in my opinion. 4 years, 280 something like
it was. The Trae Young one too.
Yeah.
Like that's why the Jaylen Brown stuff, just a full circle, is funny because the Celtics would have had to extend Jaylen Brown to a similar contract, and it would have been 3 years. $200 million on top of the 2 years that he has. And then everyone's going to be like, yo, you're paying Jaylen Brown 5 years, $350 million. What's wrong with you guys? But then you trade him, you're the bad guy. You keep him, you're the bad guy. But no, these contracts are getting crazy. And that Donovan Mitchell contract probably isn't going to age well. Like, I don't think he has the game that's going to age gracefully into his age. He relies
very heavily on his speed and athleticism, and like it's not like he's like this elite shooter either. So
he's coming off his worst year potentially, like playoffs at least. You know what I mean? Like,
but individually, they did make the conference finals for the first time, but like a lot of that did have to do with this team though. But which funny enough,
like James Harden. I know the numbers weren't pretty, but like when you look at offensive rating, the offense was better when Donovan Mitchell was on the bench.
Yeah, but I don't know, but good stuff. So, obviously, you're in the dog days of the offseason when all the different companies start coming out with lists, so people can start clicking on them, and then idiots like us can come on, go on our podcast and then dive deep into them and tell them how dumb their lists are. But I do that in my free time anyway. So, the first list they came out with was on Tuesday, I believe. which funny enough, so like when the list came out, because it's at the top 99 defenders of all time.
Yeah.
And then I texted the link into my fantasy basketball chat. I said, guys, I literally have a top 500 overall basketball players of all time. I don't know if I could do it. I said, I don't know if I could do like a top 99 defenders. And then everyone said like, okay, we know what you're doing. Like you're only doing this just so we can say you can't do that. And you can't do this. And then you're doing it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll make my list, but I haven't made the list yet. But anyway, so yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm talking to the audience, but like, they came out with their top 99 defenders of all time. I read the criteria was kind of like, I always like laugh at the criteria because like they said the three main things are advanced stats, accolades, and eye test. So three completely different things. So like that's basically just you throwing crap at the wall and then saying like, oh yeah, so you can just come up with your own thing. So anyway, what it came down to was the voters deciding Bill Russell 1, Tim Duncan 2, Kevin Garnett 3, Hakeem Olajuwon 4, Ben Wallace 5, Dikembe Mutombo 6, Dennis Rodman 7, Scottie Pippen 8, Rudy Gobert 9, Draymond Green 10. What are your takeaways from the top 10, if any?
Draymond at 10 feels a little high. I love Draymond. I think like, especially when it comes to basketball IQ, he's a good defender in his own right. But we're talking about like the top 10 defenders of all time. I don't know if I would have him at 10. Like he's obviously a 4-time champion. Maybe that goes into it a little bit there. But over Dwight, like the rim protection Dwight gave you, over I don't think Patrick Ewing, like even Patrick Ewing
was He was disgustingly low. I think they had him in like 46, just like that. Like that was like,
okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe Patrick Ewing, but like I'm just thinking like the individual player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what Draymond brings versus what like a truly elite rim protector brings. Like Draymond's obviously great for his size, but he's not better rim protector than Dwight Howard was. I think the top 8 for the most part was good. I was really interested. The first thing I did was like, where's Wemby? Like that's immediately where my mind went.
They
I
was wondering where that was
30 something, like 35 or something like that. Mm-hmm. When it's all said and done, he'll probably be in the top 3. I mean, he could even number 1 potentially. But yeah, I guess it is difficult when he's, what is it, year 3, year 4 in the NBA for Wemby, like how you rank him against guys that like Michael Jordan, who've done it for, 10, 15, for 15 years and has the accolades and has the longevity. But when it comes to just like watch them on the court, and I guess that's where all 3 faces come in. Wemby's probably already a top 15 guy, if not maybe
honestly
higher.
Yeah. And yeah, I know you're buddies with the guys over at Nerd Session. And the two of them did their draft. Yeah, they did their draft with Mars and Tyler, who won. Yeah, he was the 1-1. And then which was so like I listened to their show, and I always think it's funny like when you see a draft and then the people post it, because like when you listen to their justification, it's usually not that bad, but then you see all the people saying like I forgot what it was. Like they had like so Tyler took Paul George like 12th, I think, for like his defense.
I saw
that,
yeah.
But like because like his reasoning is, okay, so I want my team just to be a bunch of like 6'8" to 7 foot guys who can just like totally like so like Paul George is a guy who can like guard the point of attack. So like that is a justifiable pick. But however, when you see, do you really think Paul George is 12th best defender? So my biggest takeaway. So I guess 2 big takeaways. So one of them is I always thought that Hakeem was a universal top 3, if not top 2 defender all time. Love KG more than anyone, obviously, but I think there's a clear gap between him and Hakeem as defenders. Even though KG definitely has a case for a top 5 defender. I probably have him 4 or 5, but they had him at 3. The other one, the name that didn't come up. So they had David Robinson at 11. I think that he's absolutely a top 5 defender all time, in my opinion. And as far as it goes for like anchoring defenses, and obviously like guys like Ben Wallace and Dikembe, both of them are known for their 4G points and everything like that. But the list is kind of weird because like, it is hard to distinguish between guys that are defensive specialists. So guys like Marcus Smart and Alex Caruso, and he wasn't on the list, but like guys like Avery Bradley or Andre Roberson. Was Bradley on the list? Bradley actually might have been on the list, but then like everyone knows that David Robinson is this historically great defender, but because it is tough because like Robinson did also have to be the best player on the offense as well. But who knows? If
it's hard to distinguish like specialist versus like just being a great defender and just a great player overall.
Exactly. Because like then you got guys like Jimmy Butler and Paul George, both great 2-way guys, but are they better defenders than Tony Allen or Andre Roberson or Robert Covington? So like so like all defenses. So like this list is admittedly very hard, for sure. But I don't know if there was anything else on the list that stood out to me. But yeah, I agree with you that Patrick Ewing should have been much higher. Oh yeah, the other ones that stood out to me. So I think they had MJ at 18, LeBron at 22. They actually had Kobe at 42. Which
yeah, what about Kobe? Is always the most interesting case when it comes to defensive talk because he definitely got, for right or for wrong, he definitely got a little superstar tax. Is it 12-time all defensive, 10-time all defensive? It's something ridiculous.
It's 12-time overall all defensive and the 9-time first team all defensive.
Yeah, and there's just like no metric you could find that says Kobe was a top whatever for that many years. So it is a little bit, and I think the NBA has, and the voters have gotten better since then. You know, like I don't think you see ridiculous people on all defensive teams these days. Because like 15 years ago, Jaylen Brown could have easily been on an all defensive team. And now people are like, yeah, there's no fucking way put Jaylen Brown on the all defensive team. So the Kobe one is always interesting because he has all of the accolades. But when you look at really any advanced stat, it's hard to back him up for having that amount of all defensive teams.
Yeah, 100%. And even it also like sparked up the debate again of who's the better defender, because like people like dive into the GOAT debates. Very oftentimes it's people that just didn't watch Jordan play, and especially in the argument they could use is, oh look, Jordan won more, has the D4 and also made more all defensive teams. That's we all know that's a very silly way of looking at it. Like I'm not a guy that says like, oh, accolades are stupid. You shouldn't look at them ever, like if you're evaluating player. But however, I am one that says you shouldn't like that. That's also a very poor way to say why you think that Jordan's a better defensive player than LeBron. I'm probably like 50-50 on that end. Like Jordan's LeBron's probably the more versatile defender. But maybe as far as it goes for like who you want guarding the best player like the last 2 minutes of the game, maybe you'd rather have Jordan. But what was that?
You can't really go wrong. So I think it depends. Like Jordan or LeBron, maybe just better off ball in terms of like his physical traits. Maybe like the ground he could cover. Like obviously, like the chase down shit that he does is crazy. Yes. But I mean, yeah, if you want to talk just like perimeter one-on-one defender, I understand where you'd go, Jordan.
Totally agree. But yeah, now we can go on to the shooters one, which is another one that's very hard to dive into, mainly just because of how much it's like how much the game has revolutionized from the three ball, or like, and how much like the mid range, like the mid range has kind of come back lately. Like some people think that it's like, that it died after a little bit, but like I think now it's actually becoming a little more valuable because of how because of like how like elite some rim defense has gone, that like it's hard to score at the rim. But yeah, the top 10 shooters that they had Steph at 1, they had Reggie Miller 2, Ray Allen 3, Kevin Durant 4, Klay Thompson 5, Larry Bird 6, Steve Nash 7, Dirk Nowitzki 8, Damian Lillard 9, and Kyle Korver 10, with Peja Stojakovic and Kyrie Irving being the first two guys off the list. This is another interesting one. Like I said, because if you plug all these guys into like, as far as it goes for like overall shooting numbers, like mid-range numbers and 3-point numbers, I'm pretty sure that Larry Bird would actually be one of like the lower ones, like because like he entered the league, like his rookie season was like the very first season that they implemented the 3-ball, and he became the best 3-point shooter in the league, which was like still like a low rate at the time. But like, does that quantify him to be top 5 or 6 shooter all time? I'm not sure. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, these are tough because typically when you think about shooters, like your mind automatically goes to 3-point shot, right? Yes. But this list is like all inclusive in the mid range too. And this is another one too, where it's difficult to, for example, JJ Redick, Kyle Korver, they were over Kyrie in terms of like shooters. They were over James Harden in terms of shooters. And that's another difficult one. As Steve Kerr, I believe too, where it's like, you're a 3-point specialist. You're asked to do one thing for majority of the time. You know, you have plays drawn up to have screens set for you to find open threes, versus guys like James Harden, Kyrie Irving, who like, sure, maybe 3-point percentage rate or just efficiency overall is down. But when you think of, they have to find the shot for themselves, the defense is going to be more focused on them. When it comes to just three-level scoring at the rim, mid-range, and 3-point shot, they're probably more versatile than some of these guys are. So I think the specialists got a bit of a bump. Like Steph, number 1, valid. KD, number 2, valid. Like I think those two guys, especially when you take into account the mid-range for KD, for example, are more than valid. But some of those like specialists in the top 20, I don't think I would have over guys like Kyrie or James Harden, or just these guys that are like consistently finding their own shot. In Harden's case, the number one option on some of the most ridiculous offenses we've seen when he averaging 35, 36 a game, winning MVP. I think they got a little bit discredited potentially because of their efficiency, as opposed to guys just on lower volume.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, like similar to the defense thing, because like yeah, like obviously, like no one's gonna leave Kyle Korver open from three. Like that, yeah, like that'd be a very tragic mistake. But however, if you're gonna there is a world where like you would rather collapse on like a LeBron drive where you kick out to Korver, you'd rather gamble on that. But yeah, like yeah, Steph Curry, like part of the reason why he's so valuable is because like not only is he valuable from three, he also like draws out all the defenders because of how great he is off the ball too. The same thing goes with Kyrie, but yeah, there's a reason why JJ Redick and Kyle Korver weren't really offensive engines. They just happen to be like role players on some solid teams. Kyle Korver was I don't even know where that Hawks team is always like the 60-win team. Hawks team is always a very complicated team because like Horford was probably the best player on the team. Who was the second best player? I guess it was probably Teague, but like the four All-Stars, they were probably like the four worst All-Stars on the team, but they just have to win 60 something wins. But yeah, crazy though. But yeah, there was trying to think, like, I don't know if there was anyone else that was on the list. I think they like I'm pretty sure yeah, like I'm pretty sure that Tatum was on this list, but which like funny enough, because if you heard after 2024, you'd have thought that he was like that he was like a brick from three basically, which like don't get me wrong, like that run he was 2024, and and then it didn't help that it was in the Olympics when he was missing all the shots, and then he got benched. So it was but then like you saw the numbers, I'm like, okay, yeah, so maybe it's not that bad. But all right, so so the first time that we had you guys on, I brought up how you guys revolutionized the game Would You Rather, but I feel like since then you guys have also revolutionized the game Keep 3, Cut 5. So
yes,
yeah, figured yeah. Like I was hoping to have either John or Matt to help you on tonight, but so why don't we do yeah, we got time for a couple. So I think the first one I'll do is hang on, I got them written down right here. Okay, so why don't we do Keep 3, Cut 5? We're gonna do players that only played for one franchise.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So first name up, let's go Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay. Heavy hitter. Definitely a heavy hitter. Now it's when I'm with like pick a side, I know these guys' psyche and I know like what kind of players we're getting. With you, I don't know. We could go any direction. But I feel like Dirk is a very safe baseline. Hall of Famer, champion. Yes, I would keep Dirk.
Okay. All right. Next name up. Steph Curry.
Fuck. Okay, keep. Okay. I might have screwed myself with Dirk now. There's no way I could cut Steph.
I'll throw you a bone this one. Next name up, Udonis Haslem.
Okay, cool. We could cut that one. Okay.
Yeah, like admittedly
so now I know we're getting a wide range. Like that's why these lists, I'm like, I could get 8 heavy hitters. I could get 4 heavy hitters, 2 guys that are ass. I could get 8 mid guys. But I feel good so far.
Okay. Next name up, Tim Duncan.
Like I have to keep, because if I cut him, I'm saying that Dirk Nowitzki is better than Tim Duncan all time. So that's why it's like, I guess Kobe technically like never like got traded, but he never played. Jordan obviously went to the Wizards. I'm just thinking like guys all time. Like I had to keep Tim Duncan. Larry Bird could be on here. Yeah, I guess I got to shut it down here.
Shut it down. Okay, so so you kept Dirk Nowitzki, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, and you cut Udonis Haslem, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, and Magic Johnson. So
there's really no winning with this list.
There was no winning with that list. No, there wasn't. Okay,
who would your 3 keeps have been, out of curiosity? Probably Steph, Duncan.
I probably so I guess I would have gone Russell. Yeah, like okay. I do have Russell and Bird very high on my list, but like I guess I probably would probably only be able to choose one Celtic. So like I think I'd go Russell, Duncan, Magic is what I probably do. And probably,
Magic on the list too. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably what I do.
Okay.
All right. So let's see, what do we do with this one? Okay, so Okay, this is a good one. So let's do all-time passers.
Okay. All right. Now I know this first one you gave me basically all Hall of Fame first ballot top 10 players, and then Udonis Haslem. So
yeah,
now I know we could be getting something good here.
Okay. So first name up, Chris Paul.
Okay. Awesome passer. Great passer. I'm just thinking top guys of all time, like you have Magic, Joker, LeBron potentially. Let's cut.
Okay. Next name up, Nikola Jokic.
I'll keep. I think best big man passer of all time. One of the best passers, period. The fact that he could do it at 7 foot and being able to see the court that way is just a cheat code over basically every other passer in the NBA.
It's ridiculous. Yep. Next name up, Oscar Robertson.
Go. Another great one. Definitely waiting out for. I feel like I'm just gonna wait out for Magic now. I'm definitely gonna wait for Magic. So it's basically like I have to find one name that I want to keep amongst the rest. I'll cut Oscar.
Okay. All right. Next name up, John Stockton.
Fuck. Statistically, all time, he's gonna have all the numbers. Played forever. I don't think he's a better passer than some of these guys, though. So I'll cut.
All right. Next name up, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd was a great pass. How many names do I have after this?
After this one, you have to. So you got Kidd and then 3 more.
Okay. So in my head, I'm thinking Magic's coming, so I really only got 2 more. Oh man, Jason Kidd. Then when you get here, it's like, all right, you're basically admitting Jason Kidd's a better passer than Oscar or Chris Paul or whatever, whoever else you've cut so far too. I'm gonna hold that for something a little bit better. I'll cut.
Okay. Next name up, LeBron James.
Okay. Great passer. It's LeBron. But obviously it's like, was LeBron as great as a passer? Like he's obviously one of the best passers of all time. Is he better than these guys we named? I don't know. After this, we got 2 left.
Yes. So if you cut this, you're shutting it down, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, no, I have 1 more keep after this.
You have 2 more keeps.
You're saying if I cut it. Yeah.
If you cut this, you're shutting it down. Yes. Yeah.
I'll cut. I'll go to the wire. Give me the last 2.
All right. So you decided to cut Chris Paul, Oscar Robertson, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, and LeBron James. You kept Nikola Jokic, Steve Nash, and Magic Johnson.
Okay. All right. Who would your 3 keeps have been?
I think those probably would have been my keeps. I might have replaced Jokic for Jason Kidd, but
okay.
But I might have taken. I'd still probably take Jokic over him anyway. But I think that was the right move. Definitely the right play.
Yeah, those are tough.
Definitely, yeah. You down for 4 more?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So let's do hang on, give me 1 second. How about we're gonna do Mets post 2000?
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This gets me excited. Screw the all-time greats. Give me some mid-Mets players.
All right. First name up, David Wright.
Keep. This is Mr. Met. This is the Met of the 2000s. Maybe the Met ever.
Of course. Absolutely. Second name up, Jose Reyes.
All right. I loved Jose Reyes. Not the best shortstop, I don't think, in Mets history. I think Lindor is over him. Jose was great. I think he was beloved as a Met, but in terms of like all the players they had, I think we'll get some better ones. Especially if we're getting pitchers here too, right? Hitters and pitchers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cut.
Next name up, Johan Santana.
No hitter. Only no hitter in Mets history. He was a great fucking Met too. But I'd cut Johan.
Okay. Next name up, Francisco Lindor.
Love Francisco. 2024 was special. The home run he had against the Phillies, I still get goosebumps when I watch it.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, who could you give me that's over Lindor?
Also one of the more iconic clips from Pick-a-Side history as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Like just some of the pitching they've had, like even stuff like Matt Harvey, which is the peak was so short. DeGrom, I got to keep DeGrom. I think I'll keep Lindor. Like I know there's been like a lot of ups and downs, but when you look at his tenure with the Mets, he's just been one of the best players in baseball, like over the last 4 years. So it's hard for me to cut Lindor. I think he's definitely been the best man of the 2020s. When it's all said and done, it'll be Soto. But for the first 6 years, it's definitely been him.
Yes. Next name up, Carlos Delgado.
Love Delgado. Cut. I'm keeping out for one guy right now. I'll be honest with you.
All right, these next three are also heavy hitters, but next name up, Pete Alonso.
I love Pete, but this is an easier cut for me. This is a bit of an easier cut. I don't know if it's just because the Mets suck right now and I'm not even thinking about Pete Alonso, but I'll cut Pete.
All right, so one more that we're shutting in, or I guess I got so next name up, Carlos Beltran.
I'm holding out for DeGrom, so I'm cutting Beltran though. If he becomes our manager, who knows? Maybe I'll keep him.
All right. So you decided to cut Jose Reyes, Johan Santana, Carlos Delgado, Pete Alonso, and Carlos Beltran. You kept David Wright, Francisco Lindor, and Jacob deGrom.
Perfect. That's the three I wanted, honestly. Like those to me, those are the three.
I would have gone Beltran over Lindor, but okay.
It is 2006. It's cool.
Yeah. I guess 2024 is 20. Yeah, both of them are tough, but. All right, this was fun. Maybe we'll definitely play this game more often now. But all right, I guess before I do my sign off, what do you got? Anything coming up for you guys, or just like regular stuff in the offseason for you guys? Or I guess football's coming up for you guys, but
so we got episode 600 coming up. We haven't quite decided what we're gonna do. Might just have a guest on or something. We have a couple cool guest appearances lined up. I don't want to give away who they are just yet, but we got a couple former and current players that we're going to be trying to get on the pod here within the next month or two, I'm hoping, knock on wood. But 600 coming up, a couple cool guests coming up. But just sticking to it, man. Just grinding, just working.
Fantastic. All right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun, and definitely appreciate you coming. Yeah, definitely appreciate you coming back on. It's been been a little bit, and even though we couldn't get our usual crew back on, I was definitely happy we were able to get you in, especially because So to the audience now, we'll be taking a little bit of a break, about at least a week, probably 2 weeks. I'll be going to John Matt and my family and I. We're going to be going to going to Greece, so for a nice little family vacation. So we're very excited about that, but and then we'll probably squeeze in like one more pod for the week after that. Then I'll be heading to Bermuda. So Dehls, always a pleasure having you on, and we're very, very happy we were able to get one more episode in. But this has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. Follow Dehls and the Epic Aside. Follow me at All American Hooper on Instagram and TikTok, at American Hooper on Twitter. I've been posting my daily polls for my all-time rankings. Be sure to check out sportsfluent.com for my column, and be sure to check out other Sports Fluent content. Fluent versus Show versus Everyone has been taking a bit of a break for now for the summertime, but once the offseason is up and going, we'll be getting right back to it. But this has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Until next time, keep grinding and stay hooping. Have a great night, everybody.